suffer from bad breath and want it gone immediately? Hello, my successful and healthy earthlings. Mihaela Ragushia, naturopath and founder of the Natural Health Podcast. In this episode today, I'm going to share with you a natural way to freshen up your breath. And at the end of this episode, I'm going to give you an opportunity to join a health and success oriented community by joining the newsletter below. Welcome to the Natural Health Podcast, where we bring awareness of sustainable health in the business hustle space. Natural Health Podcast is perfect for the high-performing, business-minded individuals who want to work with their biochemistry to achieve success and optimal health. It's Tuesday, which means it's time for this week's top product review. Let's talk about the thing that no one probably wants to talk about: bad breath. You have probably been in a business meeting before where you're trying to close off a deal and the individual sitting across from you had really bad breath and you're just holding it in like, I really need this deal, and you're just holding it in. But then when you leave, you're like, oh my gosh, what did that person eat and why does their breath smell so much? If not that, you're probably at a family function and you already know that individual and their breath just smells really bad. Well, essentially, it's got to do with the bacteria in their mouth, but also maybe even the bacteria in their gut, which may be causing the bad breath. Or the individual doesn't have oral hygiene. There's so many things to take into consideration. But the interesting thing is when individuals are anxious, so this is why sometimes in a business meeting, when individuals are anxious, what happens is they get a dry mouth. What happens when they get a dry mouth and they don't hydrate properly is they get anxiety, their central nervous system increases, and they get bad breath. It's a follow-up effect. So those individuals may just be anxious, and more women are bound to suffer from bad breath than actually men here in Australia, which is quite interesting. So bad breath, also called halitosis, affects about 50% of adults, which is a large number of individuals. So that's what I mean. You definitely know one individual whose breath smells. If you're a business professional and you suffer from bad breath, this can definitely affect your confidence, talking to employees, talking to your professional network, talking to your future clients, or talking to anyone, even in your personal life. It affects you, right? So what am I talking about that may be able to take away that bad breath? Well, I'm talking about something that you may be actually using in the kitchen, and that is coconut oil. Yes, you've probably heard about coconut oil pulling before, and if you haven't, that is what I'm talking about today. Coconut oil pulling is a natural ancient Indian remedy that has helped freshen up breath and improve overall hygiene by swishing oil around, specifically coconut oil. Some individuals use sesame oil and so forth. So what you do is you get a little bit of coconut oil, put it in your mouth, and you swish it around, and then you spit it out in the bin, because you don't want to put it down the drain, because that's blockage, creating blockage, right? You want to put it in the bin. I know it sounds disgusting, but hey, we have to look after our environment. So according to a 2011 study, oil pulling can be an effective natural alternative for bad breath. Here's a little bit of a hint for you. What you can actually do is you can put a little bit of, you can make little coconut oil, not lollies, like kind of like lollies, right? You put them in the mold, you melt the coconut, and you put in essential oils in it, right? Essential oils such as peppermint or anything along those lines, because then that freshens the mouth also. What an amazing thing to have, right? So what you would do that is you would do that in the morning. You do it in the morning, you get the coconut, you swish it in your mouth, and you put it out of your mouth into a bin preferably, and there you have it. You're removing all the bacteria that's no longer needed there. You're freshening up your breath at the same time. What an amazing alternative for individuals who are looking to freshen up their breath. But also do want to put in there, being a naturopath, is to look at why your breath smells, because it may have to do with a lot deeper than just oral hygiene. It may have to do with the bacteria imbalance in your gut, bacteria imbalance in your mouth, and so forth. So there you have it. You can get coconut oil anywhere literally these days, online, at your shops. You want to get one that's not chemically refined or bleached, nothing artificially added, just wholesome goodness. That's kind of what you're looking for. Not one that has artificial nasties, cheap fillers, just honest coconut oil. Essentially, so there you have it. If you suffer from bad breath, you may want to give coconut oil pulling a shot. Thank you for joining us at the Natural Health Podcast. Remember, if you want to join a natural health and success oriented community where we give research for free, where we provide bonuses from our guests, even some giveaways, join the Natural Health newsletter by clicking below. And remember, the missing link between failure and success is your health. Content and information provided here is opinion of Mahela Raguse and is for information purposes only and does not constitute medical advice. It is not intended to provide medical advice or take the place of medical advice or any current treatment you're undertaking. Consult your own medical professionals for any medical issues that you may be having. This entire disclaimer also applies to any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast. It is advised that you consult your doctor or healthcare professional in relation to any health concerns you may be having. Mahela Raguse does not take responsibility for any health consequences which occur from a person listening, viewing, or reading this content. Under no circumstances shall the Natural Health Podcast, Mahela Raguse, any guests or contributors to the Natural Health Podcast, or any employees, associates, or affiliates of Mahela Raguse be responsible for damages arising from the information provided on the Natural Health Podcast. By listening to this podcast, you agree not to use this podcast as medical advice to treat any medical conditions in either yourself or others. Please note, if you're taking prescription, do not stop your medication or start a new protocol, including but not limited to supplements, diet, lifestyle changes without consulting a doctor or healthcare professional. If you or any person has a medical concern, you should consult with your healthcare provider or seek other professional medical advice. Never disregard professional medical advice or delay in seeking it because of something that you have read or heard on the Natural Health Podcast or in any linked materials. If you think you may have a medical emergency, call your doctor or emergency services immediately. Neither Mahela Raguse nor the publisher of this content takes responsibility for the possible health consequences of any person or persons reading or listening or following the information in the educational content.